Welcome to Zoe Stories. DNA test said I'm female. Now they want me to embrace it. I never expected a simple DNA test to unravel everything I thought I knew about myself. It all began on an ordinary Tuesday. I had just returned from college, exhausted from another round of endless lectures and casual teasing from classmates. I was your typical quiet guy, always trying to stay under the radar, blending in, avoiding attention. Yet, deep inside, a part of me yearned for something more, something I couldn't quite name. That day, I found a letter slipped under my apartment door. No return address, just my name printed neatly on the front. Curiosity prickled my skin. I tore it open with trembling hands, expecting maybe a bill or some mundane notice. Instead, my eyes landed on words that would change everything. Your DNA test results are ready. I frowned. DNA test? What did they even mean? I hadn't sent any tests, at least not intentionally. My curiosity quickly turned into a mixture of fear and intrigue. I opened the email linked in the letter. Screens filled with graphs, sequences, percentages, and then a line in bold that made my chest tighten. Chromosomal composition, 100% female, XX. My vision blurred. I read it again. Surely, this had to be a mistake. Me? Female? The words seemed to mock me, laugh at the idea that all my life I had been living as a boy, and now some lab told me otherwise. My heart pounded, and a cold sweat trickled down my back. I sank onto my bed, my hands shaking, trying to make sense of it. Science had never failed me before. Biology had always been black and white. And yet here was proof, allegedly, that I was in fact female. Panic collided with confusion. I imagined everyone laughing at me, imagining my classmates teasing, my friends' bewilderment. But even as fear gripped me, a strange, almost imperceptible curiosity stirred. What if it was true? Could it be true? And then came a knock at the door. I froze. Who could it be? I wasn't expecting anyone. The knock was firm, insistent. Hesitating, I opened the door to find her standing there, tall, composed, and undeniably beautiful. I heard about your little discovery, she said, her voice smooth but carrying an edge I couldn't ignore. It was her, the one who had always commanded attention wherever she went. My cousin Alina. Confident, sharp, and utterly persuasive. She had this way of looking at you that made it impossible to lie. I don't know what this means, I stammered. My voice sounded small even to my own ears. Alina smiled, but it wasn't kind. It was knowing. It means, she said softly, stepping closer, that you've been living a half-life, that you've been denying who you are, and I think it's time you start embracing it. Her words made the air around me heavy. Embracing it? I shook my head, stepping back. I can't. I'm me. She laughed lightly, a sound that was both melodic and chilling. You are you, yes. But maybe the you think you are isn't all of it. Come with me. I'll show you. Before I could protest, she held out her hand. Something in her gaze made it impossible to refuse. Part fear, part curiosity, I followed her out of my apartment, the envelope with my DNA test clutched in my hands like a lifeline, and a curse. We walked in silence through the city streets, the sun dipping behind clouds, casting long shadows across the pavement. My mind raced. Was she really going to take me somewhere? Was this some cruel joke? Finally, we reached her apartment, a place that felt more like a fortress than a home. Walls lined with mirrors, fashion magazines scattered across a sleek table, and racks of clothes that shimmered under soft lighting. She gestured toward the clothing. You'll need to start somewhere. You can't just ignore what you are. You need to experience it. Experience it? My stomach twisted. She wasn't asking. She was telling. And despite every rational thought screaming at me to leave, to run, something inside me, a tiny, almost hidden part, wanted to see, to understand, to feel. Alina handed me a soft, silky dress. My fingers grazed the fabric, and a shiver ran down my spine. It smelled faintly of perfume, flowers, something intoxicating. Put it on, she commanded softly. It's the first step. I looked at her, my mind a storm of fear, disbelief, and reluctant curiosity. My reflection in the nearby mirror stared back at me, a boy, timid, pale, uncertain. And yet, as my fingers touched the dress, I felt a strange fluttering in my chest. "Don't worry," she whispered, stepping closer. "You'll look beautiful. You already are." Her words, though meant to comfort, made my heart pound. Beautiful? Could I ever be beautiful? Could I ever belong to this world she was pulling me into? And in that moment, I realized the life I had known was about to end. And I was standing on the edge of something terrifying, exhilarating, and utterly irreversible. Cliffhanger. As I reluctantly stepped behind the curtain to change, I caught a glimpse of my reflection, a boy about to become something else entirely. Something unknown. Something beautiful? I had never imagined that a dress could feel like both a prison and a promise. The curtain swished behind me as I stepped into the small changing area Alina had prepared. The fabric in my hands felt impossibly soft, almost alive. I shivered, not just from the cool air, but from the sheer weight of what I was about to do. Alina's voice floated from outside. "Take your time, but don't take too long. I like watching." I froze. Watching? My cheeks burned. My heart pounded as I began to slip out of my old clothes. Every movement felt unnatural, almost humiliating. I could hear my own breathing, sharp and ragged, as my hands fumbled to pull the silky dress over my shoulders. The instant it settled against my skin, I felt exposed. Every inch of me screamed in protest, yet another strange warmth blossomed in my chest. I turned toward the mirror, hesitating. I barely recognized myself. The reflection staring back was softer, smaller, vulnerable, but also striking. My features seemed sharper, my eyes larger, almost luminous in the soft light. I swallowed hard. Alina stepped in quietly, her eyes scanning me with both scrutiny and satisfaction. "Not bad," she said, tilting her head. "But the dress is just the beginning." She handed me a small box filled with makeup. Blush, mascara, lipstick, everything I had never touched before. My hands shook as I held the brushes, unsure how to apply them. "Let me help," she said, and before I could protest, she guided my hand. The brush swept over my cheeks, warm and deliberate. "Feel that? That's confidence and control." Her words made my stomach twist. Control. She had it. I didn't. And yet, even as I protested silently in my mind, a strange thrill coursed through me. By the time she helped me with mascara, my eyes seemed to shimmer in the mirror. I blinked rapidly, disbelieving. This wasn't me, was it? "Now the lips," she said, applying a delicate pink shade. The moment it touched my skin, I almost gasped. I barely recognized the person staring back, but a tiny part of me, a part one didn't want to admit, felt right. Beautiful. Alina circled me like a predator, examining every detail. "You're going to be perfect," she whispered. Her hand brushed lightly over my shoulder, a mixture of comfort and dominance that left me dizzy. She didn't stop there. She picked out delicate lingerie, soft and intricate, explaining every piece, as if it were a ritual. "This is who you are," she said softly. "This is your truth. Accept it, and you'll never feel small again." I trembled. Truth? Was this truth, or just her power over me? I didn't know. All I knew was that every movement, every brushstroke, every fold of fabric made me feel changed. My old self, the boy I had been, felt distant, like a memory fading at the edges. Finally, she led me to a small platform in the middle of her apartment. "Walk," she commanded. I stepped forward cautiously, heels clicking against the polished floor. My balance wavered, my body protested. Yet each step made me more aware of the strange, intoxicating sensation of being seen, of being admired, even in private. Alina's eyes followed me, sharp and assessing. "Confidence comes from surrender," she said. "The more you resist, the harder it will be. But the more you submit, the more powerful you become." Her words echoed in my mind. Submit? Powerful? How could I feel both terrified and electrified at the same time? Suddenly, the doorbell rang. My heart leapt. Who could it be? Alina smiled faintly. Time to test you. Before I could react, she guided me to the door. Remember, this is just the beginning. Out there, everyone will see you. And they will believe in the beautiful girl I've made you into. You'll see yourself through their eyes. That is when the transformation begins. I stepped outside, my breath catching as sunlight hit my face. People passed by, their gazes brushing over me. I felt their stares, felt their judgment, but also something I couldn't name. Fascination? Admiration? Desire? A young man glanced at me, smiled politely. My knees shook. Alina's hand steadied me, firm yet gentle. See? You're already captivating, she whispered. My chest tightened. Captivating. Beautiful. Me? Could it really be me? The words collided in my mind, forming a storm I couldn't contain. My old identity, the boy I had always been, felt like it was slipping further away with every passing second. And then, as we walked through the mall, I caught a glimpse of someone from my past, a familiar face staring at me with recognition. My stomach dropped. Did they know? Could they tell? Would they expose me? Alina squeezed my hand. Don't worry. You belong to me now. And soon you'll belong to yourself, too. Cliffhanger. As we entered the bright, bustling space of the mall, I realized with a jolt that there was no turning back. My reflection in every shop window stared back at me, not the boy I had been, but a girl, beautiful, fragile, and terrifyingly real. Hook line. I had dressed like a girl for the first time, but nothing could have prepared me for the world seeing me this way. The mall's automatic doors slid open, and a wave of bright, bustling life hit me. People walking past, laughing, talking on phones, and carrying shopping bags, all of them oblivious to the storm raging inside me. My heart pounded so violently that I feared someone would hear it. Alina's hand remained firm on my back, guiding me forward, steadying me with a mixture of gentleness and command. Every step in my heels felt precarious. I stumbled slightly, cheeks burning as I caught the amused glance of a teenager passing by. Relax, Alina whispered, adjusting my posture with a light touch. You're beautiful. Walk like you know it. Beautiful. The word echoed in my mind, heavy and almost unbearable. I wanted to believe it, but it felt like a lie, a tease, and a truth all at once. I swallowed hard, forcing my trembling legs to continue, feeling the soft sway of the dress against my thighs with every step. We reached a crowded corridor where people were window shopping. I froze, imagining every person staring at me, judging me, laughing silently. My reflection in the glass storefront was almost shocking. The boy I had been seemed gone, replaced by a delicate girl with large, uncertain eyes, flushed cheeks, and lips painted soft pink. A group of girls my age passed, chatting and giggling. One of them turned, smiled, and whispered something to her friend. My stomach flipped. I couldn't hear the words, but I imagined them laughing at me, mocking me. And yet, for the first time, a small, strange thrill coursed through me. Alina leaned closer, brushing a strand of hair from my face. They're looking at you because you're captivating, she said, her voice soft, almost hypnotic. Feel it. Let them see you. You deserve to be admired. I wanted to resist. I wanted to flee, to rip off the dress, to run back to my room and pretend this never happened. But as I looked at my reflection, the subtle way my hair framed my face, the way the blush highlighted my cheekbones, I felt a flicker of something dangerous. Pride. We moved to a small cafe inside the mall. Alina ordered 2 drinks, and we sat at a table by the window. My legs felt unsteady, and I kept adjusting my skirt nervously. Every passerby's glance felt magnified, like a spotlight exposing every flaw and every change. You're doing wonderfully, Alina murmured, reaching over to smooth my skirt. Most people would collapse the first time they're seen like this. But not you. You're stronger than you think. I laughed nervously, almost in disbelief. Stronger? Me? The boy I had been would have hidden under a hoodie, avoided eye contact, and bury himself in a game or a book. And yet here I was, exposed, vulnerable, and entirely out of my comfort zone. A man at the next table turned slightly, his gaze lingering a moment too long. My pulse quickened, a strange mix of fear, embarrassment, and something I couldn't name. Alina noticed and smiled faintly.
See?
They notice you. People are drawn to you. You're pretty. Beautiful.
Pretty.
Beautiful. The word struck me with electric intensity. I wanted to argue, to deny it, to remind myself that this wasn't me. But every glance in the window, every soft murmur of admiration, felt like a confirmation I didn't know whether to resist or crave. We left the cafe, walking past stores with mannequins dressed in fashionable clothing. I stopped, staring at my reflection. The girl in the glass had wide eyes, delicate features, and a subtle elegance I didn't recognize as my own. I wanted to look away, but part of me wanted to study her, memorize her, become her. Alina's hand brushed against mine, guiding me forward. "You're learning," she said softly. "Every step you take, every glance you endure, you're shedding the boy you used to be. The world sees the girl you were always meant to be." I shook my head, conflicting emotions warring inside me. Part of me felt humiliated, trapped in a role I hadn't chosen. Another part, terrifyingly, maddeningly, felt exhilarated, alive in a way I had never known. And then it happened. A familiar voice called my name, sharp and incredulous. My stomach plummeted. I turned slowly, heart in my throat, and froze. It was Armin, a friend from school. His eyes widened in disbelief as he looked at me. Is that you?" His voice trembled, half confusion, half shock. I couldn't speak. The blush on my cheeks deepened, my mind spinning. Alina's grip tightened, grounding me. "Yes," she said smoothly. "It's him or her, rather. Beautiful, isn't she?" Armin stared, speechless. I felt my knees weaken. The thrill of being admired clashed violently with the terror of recognition. Could he tell? Would he expose me? Would everything unravel right here, in front of them all, under the scrutiny of dozens of strangers? Alina leaned close, whispering in my ear, her breath warm and commanding. "Do not fear. You are mine to guide. And no one, not him, not anyone, will take this from you. Not yet." I wanted to argue. I wanted to flee. But my legs obeyed her, not me. Every step forward felt like surrender. And yet, another part of me wanted to surrender. As we walked away, leaving Armin staring after us, my reflection in every shop window caught my eye. The girl staring back was trembling, uncertain, and entirely exposed. But she was also striking, undeniably feminine, and terrifyingly beautiful. For the first time, I wondered, was this who I truly was? And if I accepted it, would I ever be able to return to the boy I used to be? Every step I took as her felt like I was leaving the boy I used to be behind forever. The morning after our mall outing, I woke to find Alina already up, bustling around her apartment with a sense of purpose that made my chest tighten. I felt groggy, unsettled, and most unnervingly, excited. The previous day's events had left me reeling. Every glance, every touch, every whispered word from Alina haunted me, tugging at something deep within. "You're awake," she said, her voice smooth as silk. "Good. Today we go deeper. Today, you learn what it truly means to be her." I shivered. Her words were not a request, they were a command. I nodded silently, unable to speak. My voice felt small, fragile, and utterly inadequate. She handed me a stack of clothes, more elaborate than anything I had ever seen. Delicate blouses, skirts that swirled at my knees, lacy lingerie, and stockings that shimmered under the light. She watched me carefully, a faint smile playing at the corners of her lips. "Today," she said, "you will lose the boy you were. Step by step, privilege by privilege. And by the end, you'll see yourself as I see you." Step 1. Makeup mastery. Alina guided my hands with hers, demonstrating every stroke, every blend. The blush swept over my cheeks, eyeshadow accentuating my large eyes, mascara lengthening my lashes to an almost surreal effect. Each brush against my skin felt intimate, invasive, and strangely exhilarating. "You're beautiful," she murmured. "Do you feel it?" I shook my head, though a deep, confusing warmth spread through me. "Feel it?" I wasn't sure what I was supposed to feel. Embarrassment, thrill, pride, shame? All of them at once. Step 2. Walking and posture. She positioned me in front of the mirror. "Watch yourself," she instructed. "Notice how your hips sway, how your shoulders move. Every step, every gesture conveys a story. You will learn it, and people will read it." I took tentative steps, heels clicking against the floor. My balance faltered, my knees wobbled, but she guided me gently, yet firmly. Each sway of my hips made my stomach tighten, a strange blend of vulnerability and empowerment. Step 3. Voice training. Alina had me read aloud, first softly, then with inflection, shaping every syllable until my voice seemed higher, smoother, more melodic. I hated it and loved it simultaneously. My old voice felt distant, almost foreign. With each word, I felt the boy I had been slipping further into shadow. Step 4. Public exposure practice. She led me back to the streets, where we practiced walking through crowds, smiling politely, responding to casual attention. Every glance, every whisper, made my face burn. Yet the more I endured, the more she praised me. "See," she said, her hands on my shoulders. "You are captivating. Every man and woman who looks at you sees a beautiful girl, not a boy. You." Step 5. Losing male privileges. Alina's control wasn't just physical, it was psychological. She instructed me to leave my phone at home, to let her manage communications, to avoid my usual hangouts. Slowly, deliberately, she removed the small freedoms that had defined my life as a boy.
"You are hers now," she said.
"And soon, you will be yourself, but only this self." Step 6. Emotional layers. The humiliation, the arousal, the thrill, the shame, they all collided in a storm inside me. Every compliment felt like fire on my skin. Every public glance made my heart race. I began to question what I wanted, to escape or to surrender. We ended the day at a small boutique where Alina introduced me to a stylist. She suggested new outfits, jewelry, and even perfume. My reflection in the mirror showed a girl I barely recognized, delicate, alluring, fully transformed in appearance. I trembled. "You're learning," Alina whispered. "Soon, the world will see you as I see you, and you will have no choice but to accept it." As we walked back to her apartment, I noticed a group of young men staring as we passed. My cheeks flushed. For the first time, I felt not just seen, but desired. And a dangerous thought crept into my mind. What if I didn't want to go back to being a boy at all? I didn't know whether I was terrified of who I was becoming or excited to finally see it. The morning light filtered through the blinds, casting soft stripes across Alina's immaculate apartment. I woke with a heavy sense of anticipation, my body tense from the previous day's public exposure and feminization lessons. My reflection in the mirror caught my eye before I even rose from the bed. The girl staring back was unrecognizable, my delicate features enhanced, lips pink and soft, eyes accentuated by mascara, hair perfectly styled. I felt a strange mix of fear, disbelief, and something darker, almost electric, coursing through me. Alina appeared in the doorway, radiant as ever, holding a new outfit and a mischievous smile. "Good morning, beautiful," she said. "Today we go deeper. Today you'll learn the power of being seen and the price it demands." I shivered, gripping the edge of the bed. Her words were intoxicating, commanding, and terrifying all at once. Every day with her seemed to strip away more of the boy I had been. Every word, every glance, every touch felt like it rewrote who I was. She helped me into a soft, flowing dress that clung delicately to my curves. The lace and silk made me painfully aware of every movement. As I stepped into the living room, she positioned me in front of the mirror. "Look," she said, circling me slowly. "This is you. Do you recognize her?" I studied the reflection. The boy I had been seemed to vanish with each brushstroke, each fold of fabric, each delicate step. My chest tightened with a mixture of fear and exhilaration. I wanted to run, to tear the dress off, to scream, and yet, part of me reveled in the way I looked, the way I felt. Alina guided me through walking, sitting, even the subtle movements of my hands. Every motion had to convey grace, elegance, and confidence. Every step outside would be a test, not just of my skill, but of my willingness to embrace this new identity. We went to a small park nearby, where Alina had arranged a casual meet with a young man named Samir, who she knew from a social circle. I had never spoken to him before, but as soon as he saw me, his eyes lingered. "You look incredible," he said softly. My cheeks burned. The words felt surreal. Him noticing me, admiring me. A rush of adrenaline, humiliation, and strange excitement flooded my body. I looked to Alina, unsure whether to feel protected or trapped. "Smile," she whispered, brushing a strand of hair from my face. "Let him see you. Let yourself be seen." I obeyed, and the smile that emerged was shaky but real. I realized with a jolt that for the first time, I wanted to be seen, not as a boy, not as a mistake, but as her. Later, alone with Alina, I crumpled onto the couch. Tears flowed freely, and I couldn't stop shaking. I don't know who I am anymore," I whispered, voice breaking. "Am I a girl? Am I still me?" Alina knelt beside me, her hand gentle on my shoulder. "You are both," she said softly. "The boy you were is gone, yes. But he has nothing to fear. You are alive, beautiful, and more powerful than you ever were. You just have to accept it." I wanted to believe her. I tried. But every glance at my reflection, every public look, every compliment from strangers, made my mind spin. Pride battled shame, desire battled fear. I was trapped in a storm of emotions, and Alina's calm dominance was the only anchor I had. Alina decided we would return to the mall for a short, test walk. I felt exposed, vulnerable, and raw. Every eye seemed to land on me. The whispers, the stares, they felt magnified, almost unbearable. And yet, each compliment, each glance, felt intoxicating. I found myself savoring the attention, even as my heart raced with fear and shame. My reflection in every glass window confirmed the truth I couldn't deny. I was beautiful. Alina's voice cut through my thoughts. "Do you feel it? This is power. They see you as you are. You're no longer hiding. You can resist or you can embrace it." I didn't answer. I didn't need to. My trembling hands, my flushed cheeks, my racing heart, all spoke the truth. Back at her apartment, I sank into a chair, my reflection in the full-length mirror before me. The girl staring back was undeniably me, and yet not me at all. Every feature, every movement, every subtle expression was foreign, yet familiar. I touched my cheeks, my lips, my hair. My breath caught. A small, almost guilty thrill ran through me. The boy I had been felt like a distant memory, fading with each passing moment. Alina's voice, calm and commanding, echoed in my mind. "You are mine to guide. And soon, you will be yourself, fully, undeniably, as her." I shivered, uncertain whether I wanted to resist or surrender completely. The thought terrified me and excited me. As Alina left me alone with the mirrors, I whispered to my reflection, "Who am I?" The answer was both terrifying and exhilarating. I didn't know. And maybe I never would. Every privilege I had as a boy slipped through my fingers, leaving me exposed, beautiful, and utterly powerless. The day began with a cold, unsettling clarity. I woke in Alina's apartment, still reeling from the previous day's emotional storm. My reflection in the full-length mirror showed the girl I had become, delicate, striking, undeniably feminine. But each glance made my chest tighten. Was this really me? Was I losing myself, or discovering a hidden part one had never known? Alina entered quietly, carrying a small bag filled with new outfits. She set it down on the bed with precision, her eyes scanning me like a predator inspecting her prey. "Good morning," she said, smiling faintly. "Today, we strip away the last traces of your old life. You'll learn what it truly means to live as her." My stomach sank. Strip away, what exactly? I followed her silently, a strange mix of dread and excitement twisting inside me. Alina guided me into a soft, figure-hugging dress, the color pale pink, almost ethereal against my skin. She handed me a small clutch, insisting I leave my old belongings, wallet, phone, keys behind. "From now on," she said softly, yet firmly, "you live in her world. The boy you were had privileges. The boy you were had freedom. That life is over." I nodded silently, feeling the weight of her words. Every freedom, every comfort I had taken for granted, was slipping away. The city outside felt like a battlefield, and I was unarmed, vulnerable, yet startlingly alluring in my new form. We stepped into the bustling streets. I felt every glance, every whisper, magnified. People stared, some curious, some admiring. I noticed a group of young men in a cafe, their eyes lingering longer than polite, their whispers obvious. My heart raced. Alina's hand rested lightly on my back. "Feel that? They see you. You're beautiful, and you're powerless to deny it. That is the truth of being her." The word powerless echoed in my mind. I hated it. I craved it. I trembled. Alina led me to a small fashion boutique. She instructed the sales assistant to assist me exclusively. As they fussed over my outfit, adjusting hemlines, smoothing fabric, I felt an unfamiliar thrill, attention, desire, admiration. My cheeks burned, my chest tightened, yet I obeyed silently, letting every movement be guided by her. A young man, tall and handsome, approached the boutique and glanced at me. His eyes widened. "Wow, you're beautiful," he murmured. My knees nearly buckled, and Alina's grip steadied me. "You see," she whispered, "this is your new reality. People notice you. They admire you. You can fight it, or you can accept it." I tried to fight it. I tried to cling to my old identity. But every compliment, every glance, every lingering look made my resolve crumble. Alina's control wasn't just public, it was complete. My old clothes were gone, replaced by feminine outfits she chose. My personal contacts were now mediated by her. My routines, my diet, my daily habits, everything was restructured around her version of me. "You are no longer a boy," she said softly. "The boy's privileges, the independence that's over. Embrace her, or resist and you'll suffer." Every word cut into me, a mix of fear, humiliation, and strange exhilaration. I realized I could no longer make decisions for myself. Every choice, what I wore, how I spoke, how I moved, was dictated by her. And a part of me, hidden deep, felt right. As the day wore on, the intensity grew. Alina guided me to a small cafe, where a friend of hers, a charming young man, joined us. I felt every glance, every comment, every subtle brush of his hand against mine magnified. My heart raced, my stomach twisted, and I felt a confusing mix of shame and excitement. Alina's gaze held me captive. "Do you feel it?" she asked softly. "Do you feel what it's like to be desired? To be seen as her?" I nodded, unable to speak. The words, the attention, the subtle, intimate touch, it was intoxicating, terrifying, and humiliating all at once. My old self, the boy I had been, felt like a distant memory. By the time we left the cafe, the streets were alive with people, each glance reminding me that I was fully exposed, fully transformed, and powerless to resist the new reality. Back in Alina's apartment, I collapsed in front of the full-length mirror. The girl staring back was flawless, captivating, and terrifying. Every detail, hair, makeup, posture, dress, was perfect. Yet my mind screamed in protest. "This isn't me. I'm a boy. I'm trapped." Tears ran down my cheeks as I touched my lips, my cheeks, my hair. The thrill, the humiliation, the desire, all mingled into a storm of emotion I could not untangle. Alina's voice, soft and commanding, whispered, You are mine, and you will see yourself as I see you. Beautiful, captivating, hers. I shivered, caught between fear, shame, and a forbidden, intoxicating excitement. As I gazed at the reflection, I realized something terrifying. I didn't know if I wanted to escape. The boy I had been felt gone. And maybe the girl I was becoming was all I wanted to be. I had never imagined desire could feel so terrifying or so intoxicating. The evening had settled over the city like a soft, velvety blanket. Alina had prepared for tonight with meticulous care, a small dinner at a dimly lit bistro, candles flickering, the world outside fading into insignificance. My body was still trembling from the intensity of the past week, from the constant shift between fear, embarrassment, and an inexplicable thrill at being seen as her. Tonight, Alina whispered, adjusting the delicate strap of my dress, you will feel how the world responds to her and how your heart responds too. I swallowed hard. My chest tightened at her words, not just from fear, but from anticipation I couldn't name. The bistro was intimate, with small tables softly illuminated. As we entered, I noticed heads turn. I felt their eyes scanning me, lingering on the dress, the makeup, the delicate way I moved. I blushed furiously, and Alina's hand rested lightly on my back. You see, she whispered, they notice you. They admire you. And that is power. A man at a nearby table smiled subtly in my direction. My stomach twisted. I wanted to hide, to retreat, but Alina's steady gaze grounded me. Smile, she encouraged, and the small, hesitant smile I forced felt both alien and thrilling. As we were seated, a young man named Samir, a friend of Alina, joined us. His presence was calm, yet I felt every glance he gave me magnified tenfold. My pulse raced, my skin tingled, and I became acutely aware of every detail of my appearance. The way my hair framed my face, the softness of my lips, the sway of my dress as I moved. You look incredible tonight, Samir said softly, eyes never leaving mine. The words hit me like a wave. Heat spread through my chest, a mixture of embarrassment and a strange, forbidden excitement. I looked to Alina for guidance, and she simply smiled, letting me feel the attention fully. I wanted to deny it. I wanted to remind myself I was a boy, that I wasn't supposed to feel this way. And yet, every glance from Samir, every gentle smile, every subtle compliment pulled me deeper into a storm of conflicting emotions. I could feel my body responding despite my mind screaming in protest. My cheeks flushed, my legs trembled beneath the table, and a small shiver ran down my spine. The thrill, the fear, the embarrassment, they were all intoxicating. Alina's voice, soft but commanding, broke through my thoughts. Do you feel it? Desire, admiration, attention. You are hers, and you will learn to enjoy it. As the evening progressed, Samir's attention grew more focused. He complimented the way I held my glass, the tilt of my head, the subtle curve of my lips. Each word, each gesture, felt like a spark, igniting a mixture of shame, excitement, and longing. I wanted to pull away, to deny the sensation, but Alina's hand rested lightly on my knee, a reminder that resistance was futile. And a part of me, terrifying and irresistible, wanted to surrender completely. Every laugh, every shy glance, every delicate movement I made reinforced the transformation. I was no longer a boy trying to pretend. I was fully, undeniably her. And the erotic tension, subtle yet consuming, confirmed it in ways I hadn't imagined possible. Back at Alina's apartment, I stood before the mirror, trembling. The reflection staring back was flawless, seductive, entirely feminine. Every gesture, every detail, every line of my body screamed, "This is her." I touched my lips, my cheeks, my hair. My heart raced. The boy I had been felt distant, a memory fading with each passing moment. And the thought terrified me and excited me. Alina's voice whispered from behind, "Do you understand now? You are beautiful, captivating, and desired. You will never be the boy again." And the question is, do you want to be? Cliffhanger. I pressed my hands to the mirror, eyes wide. The answer I wanted or feared was creeping closer. Maybe I didn't want to go back. Maybe I wanted this entirely. The moment I surrendered completely, the world didn't just see me, it claimed me. The morning sunlight spilled across Alina's apartment, golden and unrelenting, reflecting off the polished floor and the pristine mirrors that lined the walls. I woke slowly, feeling every nerve in my body alive with tension. My reflection immediately caught my attention. The girl staring back at me was breathtaking. I blinked and almost didn't recognize her. Her hair fell perfectly around her delicate shoulders, her makeup flawless, her eyes wide and inviting. And yet, inside me, a storm raged. Fear, shame, desire, and exhilaration collided violently. I wasn't sure whether I wanted to flee or surrender completely. Alina appeared, radiant and commanding, carrying an armful of outfits more delicate and feminine than anything I had ever imagined. "Today," she said softly, "you will experience what it truly means to be seen and to surrender." I shivered. Her words were not a request, they were a decree. Every step I had taken until now had been leading to this. And yet, the thought of giving myself entirely, body, mind, identity, terrified me. Alina chose a soft lavender dress for me, with a skirt that swayed with every movement and lace detailing that accentuated the curve of my waist. She handed me delicate heels, stockings, and a small clutch. "Leave everything else behind," she instructed. "You have no privileges today. You are hers to present and the world to admire." The words hit me like a hammer. No phone, no wallet, no escape. Just me, fully exposed, fully feminine, and completely under her guidance. My chest tightened, my stomach churned, but I obeyed. The mirror reflected the transformation in full. Every curve, every detail, every subtle movement screamed femininity. I pressed my hands to my cheeks and lips, my pulse quickening, my mind dizzy with emotion. Alina led me to the streets, heels clicking against the pavement. Immediately, heads turned. Whispers followed, eyes lingered, subtle smiles and admiring glances trailed us. My heart raced. "You see?" Alina murmured, brushing a hand along my arm. "They notice you. They admire you. And you are powerless to resist it. That is the truth of being her." A group of young women passed, whispering and giggling. One of them paused, looked at me directly, and said softly, "Wow, you're stunning." My cheeks burned red. I wanted to hide, to escape. And yet, every word, every glance, every tiny act of attention made my body respond in ways I couldn't deny. Humiliation, pride, desire, they all fused into a single, intoxicating emotion. By mid-afternoon, we arrived at a small cafe. Alina seated me near a window where sunlight streamed in, casting a golden glow. People passing outside glanced at me, some lingering, some whispering. My cheeks were aflame, my chest tight, my legs trembling beneath the table. Alina's hand rested lightly on my knee. "Do you feel it?" she asked softly. "The thrill, the fear, the admiration, the surrender?" I nodded, unable to speak. My voice felt foreign, fragile, weak. And yet, part of me, the part one didn't want to acknowledge, wanted it all. The exposure, the admiration, the feeling of being completely seen as her. Back in Alina's apartment, I sank in front of the full-length mirror, trembling. The girl staring back at me was flawless, radiant, undeniably feminine. Every gesture, every detail, every curve screamed that this was no longer a disguise. Tears pricked my eyes. I had resisted, fought, and denied it, and now I realized I didn't want to fight anymore. Every glance, every compliment, every subtle touch had eroded the boy I had been. And the thought was both terrifying and exhilarating. Alina knelt beside me, brushing a strand of hair from my face. "Do you see now? You are beautiful. You are hers. And the world sees it too. You can fight, or you can surrender and be truly alive." I pressed my hands to the mirror, eyes wide. The answer was creeping into my heart. Surrender. Complete, total, irreversible surrender. Later, alone for a moment, I heard a soft knock. Samir, the young man from previous chapters, stood at the door.
His eyes widened as he saw me.
You look amazing, he said, voice husky. My stomach twisted. The heat, the excitement, the humiliation, it was all unbearable. And yet, a deep, forbidden thrill coursed through me. I realized with a jolt that I wanted him to see me, to desire me, to affirm the transformation that had consumed me. Alina appeared behind him, smiling faintly. She is beautiful, isn't she? Yes, Samir murmured, gaze lingering. My cheeks flamed, my heart raced, my mind spun. I was completely exposed, utterly feminine, utterly desired. And I realized with a shiver that I didn't want to go back. Cliffhanger. As Alina closed the door behind us, I whispered to my reflection, trembling. Am I ready to be her forever? The answer hovered on my lips, terrifying and exhilarating. Maybe I already was. The boy I had been was gone, and every reflection, every glance, reminded me there was no turning back. Morning arrived like a soft command, illuminating Alina's apartment with golden streaks that reflected off polished floors and mirrors lining the walls. I woke slowly, my body and mind still trembling from the total surrender of the previous day. My reflection immediately caught my eye. The girl staring back at me was flawless. Every detail, every curve, every gesture screamed femininity. But inside, the storm of emotion roared louder than ever. Fear, shame, desire, pride, and confusion intertwined.
Who was I now?
Could I ever return to being a boy? Or was that version of me irretrievably lost? Alina entered, her presence commanding yet tender, carrying an armful of dresses. She placed them beside me with precision. Today, she said softly, you will step into the world as her fully. You will see how society responds, how people desire her, and how powerless you are to resist it. I shivered at her words. My chest tightened. The thought of being fully exposed, fully feminine, fully desired, terrified, and excited me in equal measure. Alina chose a soft, flowing dress in blush pink, delicate lace accentuating my curves. She handed me heels, stockings, and a small clutch. Leave your old self behind, she instructed. No phone, no wallet, no trace of the boy you were. From now on, you live as her. I obeyed, the weight of her words settling over me like chains. Every privilege, every freedom I had taken for granted, was gone. I was hers to present, hers to shape, hers to guide. The mirror reflected the truth. I was undeniably feminine, undeniably beautiful, undeniably transformed. Alina led me into the city streets, heels clicking against the pavement. Immediately, eyes turned, whispers followed, and subtle smiles trailed us.
People noticed me.
They admired me. I was powerless to hide. You see, Alina whispered, brushing her hand along my arm. The world sees you now. They admire you. You can fight it or surrender. We passed a small cafe, and Samir, my first romantic connection, sat outside. His eyes widened at the sight of me. You're stunning, he said softly. My cheeks flushed, my pulse quickened, my body responded in ways I hadn't expected. Alina's grip on my hand reminded me, resistance was futile, and the part of me that wanted to surrender completely burned with desire. Back in the apartment, I stood before the mirror, trembling. The girl staring back at me was beautiful, captivating, and terrifying. Every detail screamed femininity, every curve a reminder that the boy I had been was gone. Tears ran down my cheeks as I touched my lips, my cheeks, my hair. Pride battled shame, excitement battled fear, and desire battled guilt. Every emotion was magnified, amplified, almost unbearable. Alina knelt beside me, brushing a strand of hair from my face. Do you see now? She asked softly. You are hers. You are beautiful. And the world sees it too. You can fight or surrender. But the choice, the freedom, is gone. Hours passed. I wandered in front of the mirror repeatedly, studying every line, every curve, every gesture. Each reflection confirmed the truth. I was her now. The boy I had been was gone, erased by desire, exposure, and surrender. I whispered to my reflection, trembling, "Am I really her now?" The answer settled in my chest like a weight I could neither lift nor ignore. Yes, I was fully, irrevocably, and beautifully her. The final test came in the evening. Alina invited friends to a small gathering. I walked into the room, heels clicking, dress swaying, posture perfect. Every glance, every whisper, every smile confirmed the transformation. People saw me as her, desired me as her, acknowledged me as her. I felt a wave of exhilaration, shame, and longing wash over me. The boy I had been was a memory, and the girl I had become was fully alive. Alina watched me from across the room, a faint smile of triumph on her lips. "Do you see?" she asked softly. "The world sees you as I always knew they would. And now so do you." As I stood there, every eye on me, every whisper in the room, I realized the terrifying truth. There was no going back. I had surrendered completely, and part of me, a part one had never dared to acknowledge, didn't want to. The world saw her. I saw her. And finally, I had no choice but to surrender completely. The day began with a trembling anticipation I had never felt before. Morning sunlight filtered through Alina's curtains, golden and soft, illuminating every corner of the apartment. My reflection in the full-length mirror caught my eye immediately. The girl staring back was perfect, hair cascading over my shoulders, flawless makeup highlighting wide, expressive eyes, delicate lips, and every curve accentuated by the soft blush of my dress. And yet, within me, the storm of emotions had reached its peak. Fear, shame, excitement, desire, and a strange, intoxicating pride battled violently. The boy I had been was gone. Every trace of him, every habit, every comfort had been stripped away. And for the first time, I didn't know if I wanted him back. Alina appeared in the doorway, radiant as ever, holding a pair of heels and a clutch. Her eyes locked on mine, commanding and tender all at once. "Today," she said softly, "you will step into the world fully as her. There will be no hiding, no retreat, no excuses. You will be admired, desired, and tested, and you will see what it truly means to be beautiful." I shivered at her words. The magnitude of what was about to happen made my chest tighten. And yet, beneath the fear, a thrilling anticipation bubbled, terrifying, exquisite, impossible to resist. Alina guided me into a flowing, blush-colored dress with delicate lace and a subtle shimmer that caught every light. She fitted me with heels that made my legs feel impossibly long and graceful. Every accessory, every detail had been chosen to enhance the transformation I had endured over weeks. "Leave your old self behind," Alina whispered, fastening the straps of my dress. "Every privilege, every comfort, every identity from your past gone.
You are hers now.
And the world will see it." The mirror reflected the truth. I was completely feminine, completely beautiful, completely transformed. My hands shook as I touched my face, my hair, my lips, feeling both the thrill and the humiliation of surrender. Alina led me through the city streets, heels clicking against the pavement, dress swaying with every step. People turned to look, whispers followed, subtle smiles, and admiring glances trailed us. My heart raced. "You see?" Alina murmured, brushing her hand along my arm. "This is your new reality. They notice you, they admire you, and you are powerless to resist it. That is the truth of being her." A group of young women passed, whispering and laughing. One stopped, looked at me directly, and said softly, "You're stunning." I felt my cheeks burn, a rush of embarrassment mixed with an undeniable thrill. My body responded involuntarily, a shiver of excitement coursing through me. I realized with a jolt that my old self, the boy I had been, was gone, fading into a distant memory. Later, Alina guided me to a private garden where Samir, my first romantic connection, waited. The sun set, casting long shadows and painting the sky in fiery oranges and purples. You're breathtaking, Samir said, his voice husky with admiration. My stomach twisted, my chest tightened, and my mind screamed in protest. And yet, every word, every glance, every subtle touch ignited something inside me I could no longer deny. Alina's hand rested lightly on my shoulder. Do you feel it? She asked softly. Desire, attention, admiration. You are hers completely, and you will learn to embrace it. I nodded, trembling. The thrill, the embarrassment, the longing, it was all consuming. I realized then that I no longer wanted to go back. The boy I had been was a memory. The girl I had become was alive, vibrant, and terrifyingly real. Back at Alina's apartment, I stood before the full-length mirror, trembling. Every reflection, every angle, every detail confirmed the truth. I was beautiful. I was feminine. I was completely transformed. Tears streamed down my cheeks as I touched my lips, my cheeks, my hair. Pride battled shame, excitement battled fear, desire battled guilt, and slowly, I felt the resistance ebbing away. The boy I had been was gone. The girl I had become was fully alive. Alina knelt beside me, brushing a strand of hair from my face. Do you see now? She whispered. You are beautiful. You are hers. And the world sees it too. You can fight, or you can surrender. But the choice, it is gone. I pressed my hands to the mirror, my pulse racing. The answer was settling into my heart. Surrender. Complete, irreversible surrender. Alina invited friends for a small gathering to celebrate the transformation. I walked in confidently, heels clicking, dress swaying, posture perfect. Every glance, every whisper, every subtle smile confirmed it. I was her. People admired me, desired me, acknowledged me. Samir's eyes met mine, warm and admiring. I felt a thrill of happiness, embarrassment, and longing all at once. The girl I had become was fully accepted, fully desired, fully alive. Alina watched from across the room, a triumphant smile on her lips. Do you see? She asked softly. The world sees you, as I always knew they would. And now, so do you. Alone later, I stood before the mirror one last time. The girl staring back was undeniably me. Every detail, every gesture, every curve confirmed it. I whispered to my reflection. I am her, and I finally accept it. The room was silent, but inside me, a storm of emotion raged, pride, fear, desire, excitement. And finally, I surrendered fully, completely, and irreversibly to the girl I had become. The boy I had been was gone. The girl I had become was alive, radiant, and unstoppable. And as I looked into the mirror one final time, I realized this was no longer a transformation. This was my life. The world had claimed her. I had claimed her. And now, I could no longer imagine life any other way. The days following the ultimate surrender blurred into a rhythm I had never known. Every morning, I awoke in Alina's apartment, greeted by the soft golden light streaming through the curtains. The girl in the mirror was no longer a surprise, no longer an illusion. She was me. Every detail, from the delicate curve of my jaw to the soft sway of my hips, felt natural, undeniable, alive. Alina stood nearby, always radiant, always in control, guiding me through my days with gentle authority. She prepared my outfits meticulously, selected my meals, arranged meetings, and sometimes just watched me with that faint, triumphant smile that reminded me she had orchestrated every step of this transformation. I was no longer shy or hesitant. I moved with purpose now, with a subtle grace I had never known. Yet the memory of my old self, the boy I had been, lingered like a ghost. Occasionally, a reflection, a whisper of a past habit, or a sound of my own voice would remind me. But each time, I felt a strange thrill. That old life was gone, and the new life was intoxicating. By mid-morning, I was usually out in public, walking through city streets, shopping districts, cafes, or small boutiques. I noticed the glances, the admiration, the subtle awe of strangers. I had become fully recognizable as her, beautiful, feminine, captivating. People whispered compliments as I passed. Men and women alike looked at me with subtle fascination. Friends, acquaintances, and even strangers approached with smiles and admiration. The realization struck me anew each day. I had lost my privileges as a boy, but gained a new power as her. A delicate, dangerous power. People didn't just notice me, they respected me, envied me, desired me. And I was powerless to resist the effect I had on them. Alina watched silently, occasionally offering advice or correction. Walk taller. Smile softer. Let them see her fully. And I obeyed, reveling in the subtle domination of her control, a thrill mixed with embarrassment and joy. Each evening, I returned to the apartment and stood before the full-length mirror.
It was a ritual now.
I studied every curve, every line, every detail of the girl I had become. My eyes traced the elegant neck, delicate shoulders, and flowing hair. My lips curved slightly in a smile, the faint blush on my cheeks natural and radiant. Yet, beneath the surface, a storm of emotions still churned. Pride, shame, excitement, longing, and a strange, lingering grief intertwined. The boy I had been was gone, yet I sometimes longed for a glimpse of him, not fully, not desperately, but as a memory to honor how far I had come. Alina often joined me, brushing a strand of hair from my face, her voice soft and commanding. Do you see now? You are hers. You are beautiful. And the world knows it. There is no going back, nor would you want to. I pressed my hands to the mirror, taking a deep breath. Slowly, the storm inside me calmed. She was real. I was real. And I had no desire to fight anymore. Weeks later, Alina took me to a small public event, a gathering of influential friends, socialites, and acquaintances. I walked in confidently, heels clicking, dress swaying with every step, posture perfect. Every eye in the room followed me. Every whisper, every glance, every subtle smile confirmed my transformation. Someone from my past, an old classmate, recognized me. His eyes widened, jaw slightly dropping. I smiled faintly, graceful, feminine, untouchably confident. Compliments poured in, subtle touches on my arm, admiration in their eyes. I realized fully, I was no longer a boy trying to pretend. I was her, fully alive, fully captivating, fully in control of the attention I inspired. Alina's triumphant gaze met mine across the room. A soft, satisfied smile on her lips reminded me. She had guided every step of this journey, yet the final claim, the final acceptance, was mine. Samir approached me, hesitant yet drawn irresistibly to me. His eyes reflected awe, desire, and admiration. You're amazing," he murmured. My heart fluttered, my chest tightened, and a shiver ran through me. For the first time, I realized that desire, affection, and emotional connection were no longer foreign to me. They were part of my life now. I reached for his hand, a soft, confident smile playing on my lips. I am her now," I whispered. "And this is my life." The words felt right, true, irrevocable, and I realized, with a mix of fear and delight, that I didn't want to return. Not now, not ever. That night, alone in front of the mirror, I studied the girl I had become. Every detail confirmed the transformation. Hair, makeup, posture, elegance. Every curve, every gesture, every glance in the mirror told me she was real. I whispered softly, almost reverently, "I am her. I am beautiful. I am alive." A tear slid down my cheek, a mixture of joy, fear, pride, and longing. The boy I had been was gone. The girl I had become was alive, radiant, and unstoppable. I touched my lips, my cheeks, my hair. The reflection smiled back. She was me, and I finally fully accepted it. Alina appeared behind me one last time, resting a hand on my shoulder. "Do you see now?" she asked softly. "The world sees her, and so do you. Forever." I nodded, a soft shiver running through me. The storm inside had calmed. Acceptance, desire, admiration, and identity had merged into one undeniable truth. I was hers. I was beautiful. I was alive. The boy I had been was gone. The girl I had become was alive. And as I gazed into the mirror one last time, I realized this was not a transformation. This was my life. Forever. The world had claimed her, and I had claimed her, yet shadows of the past whispered, and desire lingered like a secret flame. Weeks had passed since my final surrender. The rhythm of life as her had become familiar, almost natural, yet every day carried an undercurrent of tension, a reminder of how utterly my life had changed. I awoke in Alina's apartment, sunlight spilling across the floor, illuminating the soft curves of my body, the flowing hair, the elegant silhouette that had become my identity. I walked to the mirror, as I did every morning, my reflection a constant reminder of who I had become. The girl staring back was flawless, delicate, and radiant, but inside me, traces of uncertainty and lingering shame whispered, like shadows in a corner. Alina stood nearby, calm, poised, her presence a constant anchor. "Today," she said softly, "you will meet the world fully, unapologetically. You are hers, and the world will see it. You will see it too." I shivered, the thrill of exposure mixed with the comfort of guidance. The power dynamic, the subtle dominance she held over me, was intoxicating and grounding at the same time. Alina selected a soft, pastel dress that accentuated my curves elegantly, paired with delicate heels. She adjusted every detail, hair, makeup, nails, until perfection was achieved. "Remember," she whispered, brushing my cheek gently, "the world sees her now. You are hers completely. Confidence will follow, but surrender is eternal." I nodded, trembling. I knew this was not temporary. The boy I had been was gone, fading further every day. And yet, the girl I had become felt alive, powerful, and terrifyingly real. Out on the streets, every glance, every subtle whisper, every smile reinforced my new identity. People noticed me, admired me, desired me. It was no longer an experiment, it was life. Strangers complimented me on my dress, my hair, my elegance. Friends approached with warmth, subtly acknowledging the transformation. Samir lingered, his admiration palpable, his eyes reflecting desire and curiosity. I felt a strange thrill at every glance, every compliment, every whisper. Shame, desire, and pride blended into a single intoxicating sensation. The girl I had become wasn't just visible, she was powerful in her own way. Alone later, I stood before the mirror, tracing the contours of my face and body. Every reflection confirmed the truth. I was her, fully alive, fully feminine, fully captivating. Yet beneath the surface, a storm brewed. The boy I had been occasionally whispered in memories, reminding me of a life that was impossible to reclaim. The power, the admiration, the erotic tension, it all carried subtle shadows. Alina appeared behind me, her hand resting lightly on my shoulder. "Do you feel it?" she asked softly. "The world sees her, and so do you. But the shadows will always linger. That is part of being hers." I nodded, shivering, realizing that surrender wasn't just a moment, it was a lifetime. And every glance, every desire, every reflection would test me endlessly. Samir had become a fixture in my new life, a subtle source of desire and emotional depth. He admired me openly yet respectfully, making my heart flutter and my mind spin. Each interaction blurred the line between embarrassment and excitement, between longing and surrender. One evening, as he helped me adjust a delicate strap on my dress, our eyes locked. "You're incredible," he whispered. Heat coursed through me, my pulse raced, and for the first time, I realized fully, desire, admiration, and erotic tension were now integral parts of my identity. The girl I had become didn't just exist. She commanded attention, inspired desire, and lived fully in the world. That night, I stood before the mirror one last time. The girl staring back was radiant, confident, beautiful, but the shadows lingered. Memories of my old self, traces of resistance, and subtle erotic tension whispered in my mind. I touched my lips, my cheeks, my hair, and whispered softly, "I am hers. I am beautiful. I am alive." A tear slid down my cheek. Pride, fear, longing, and desire mingled, creating a storm of emotion that felt endless. The boy I had been was gone, but the girl I had become was unstoppable. Alina's hand rested on my shoulder one final time. "Do you see now?" she whispered. "The world sees her. You see her. And forever, you will be hers." I nodded, a soft shiver running through me. Surrender was no longer temporary, it was life. And in that moment, I realized fully, I would never go back. The world had claimed her, I had claimed her, and together, we would live, desire, and exist in a way neither of us could have imagined. The boy I had been was a memory. The girl I had become was alive, radiant, desired, unstoppable, and the shadows of the past whispered only to remind me how far I had come. Forever hers. Forever beautiful. The past I thought I had left behind suddenly walked back into my life, and everything I had surrendered was at risk. It was a bright Saturday morning, and the city streets were bustling with life. I walked alongside Alina, heels clicking on the pavement, dress flowing gracefully with every step. The world had become familiar to me. The admiration, the subtle desire, the constant glances, it had all become part of my daily life. Yet today felt different. There was a tension in the air, an invisible charge that made my pulse quicken. Alina seemed unusually alert, scanning the crowds with sharp eyes. "You'll see today," she whispered, her hand brushing lightly against mine. "Someone from your past is about to test you, and you will learn how truly far you've come." I swallowed hard. My stomach tightened at her words. A test? From my past? I couldn't imagine who it could be. As we approached a small boutique, a familiar voice called out, "Is that really you?" I froze. My heart skipped a beat. Turning slowly, my eyes met a pair of wide, astonished eyes. It was Samir's friend from school, someone I hadn't seen in years. His gaze lingered on me, disbelief written across his face.
Wow.
I didn't recognize you at first," he stammered. The world seemed to slow. Whispers rippled through the crowd. My pulse raced. Shame, fear, and adrenaline mixed in a storm of emotion. Alina's grip tightened subtly on my hand. "Remember," she whispered, "you are hers. You are beautiful. Show them." I took a deep breath, adjusting my posture, letting my confidence flow through me. The girl I had become could handle this, could survive this, could captivate them as she had captivated everyone else. Despite the initial shock, the group around us slowly relaxed and compliments began to pour in. "You look amazing," one person said. "Absolutely stunning." My cheeks burned, a mixture of embarrassment and exhilaration flooding me. Every glance, every word, every subtle gaze reinforced the reality. I was her now, fully and irrevocably. Yet, beneath the admiration, a new tension lingered. This person knew me from my past. Could they see through the transformation? Could they recognize the boy I had been beneath the layers of makeup, dress, and confidence? Later, alone in a small cafe, I sank into my chair, trembling. The past had caught up with me. The girl I had become was recognized, not by strangers, not by admirers, but by someone who knew my former life. Alina appeared beside me, her presence calming, her gaze steady. "It's okay," she said softly. "The past is part of your journey, not your prison. You are hers now, beautiful, desired, complete. Let them see her, not him." I nodded, tears pricking my eyes. Shame, fear, and excitement battled inside me, Yet Alina's words anchored me. I realized then that no one, not even the past, could undo what I had become. Alina guided me through subtle adjustments, posture, gaze, voice, reminding me how powerful and captivating I had become. Every movement, every glance, every smile projected confidence, femininity, and control. By the time we left the cafe, the tension had transformed into admiration. People whispered, turned heads, and offered compliments. The girl I had become was fully accepted, fully alive, and fully desired, even by those who knew the boy I had been. That night, I stood before the mirror, tracing the contours of my face and body. The girl staring back at me was radiant, confident, and undeniably real. Yet a subtle shadow lingered, reminders of the past, whispers of memory, and the realization that not everyone would accept the transformation without question. Alina rested a hand on my shoulder, her voice soft and commanding. Do you see now? You are hers. Beautiful, desired, unstoppable. The past cannot touch you anymore. Only admire what you have become. I nodded, shivering with a mixture of relief, fear, and exhilaration. The storm inside me had calmed, but a faint, thrilling tension remained. The world knew her. I knew her. And the past would always whisper, just enough to remind me how far I had come. The boy I had been was gone. The girl I had become was alive, radiant, and unstoppable. But someone from the past had seen her, and that meant the next test, the next challenge, could arrive at any moment. The world adored her. Yet one challenge remained, a confrontation that could unravel everything she had become. The morning began with a tense energy that set my chest tight and my pulse racing. Alina was unusually alert, scanning our surroundings as we stepped onto the bustling city streets. The world had become familiar to me, the admiration, the desire, the subtle control Alina exerted, but today, something felt different. There will be a test, Alina said softly, her eyes never leaving the crowd. Someone will challenge you, question you, and you will learn if she is truly unstoppable. I swallowed hard. My stomach knotted. Despite all the public admiration, the romantic tension, and my growing confidence as her, the thought of a challenge, someone capable of exposing or doubting me, made my heart hammer. As we approached a busy cafe, I noticed a familiar figure leaning against a wall, watching me intently. My breath caught. It was my childhood friend, Armin, someone who had known me intimately as a boy. His gaze lingered on me, confusion and disbelief mixing in his expression. It can't be, he murmured. His voice trembled slightly. Alina's hand tightened on mine, subtle but grounding. Remember, she whispered. Confidence. Presence. She is yours now. Do not falter. My legs shook slightly, but I straightened my posture, lifted my chin, and let the girl I had become step forward. Every movement, every glance, every subtle gesture had to radiate control, beauty, and undeniable femininity. Armin stepped closer, scrutinizing me. You look so different. I barely recognize you. A rush of fear, embarrassment, and excitement surged through me. I felt exposed, vulnerable, yet strangely exhilarated. The girl I had become was being tested by someone who had once seen the boy I had been. Alina whispered softly, guiding me. You are hers. Every glance, every whisper, command it. Own it. I took a deep breath, letting the confidence flow through me. I smiled gently, letting my eyes meet Armin's. Yes, that's me. But I'm not who I was before. As the conversation unfolded, passers-by paused, noticing me. Whispers of admiration flowed around us, and subtle smiles followed me wherever I moved. Despite Armin's surprise and lingering doubt, the world's gaze reinforced the reality. I was her, fully alive, fully captivating. Stunning, someone whispered as they passed. Another smiled openly, admiration evident in their eyes. Even Armin's disbelief began to shift subtly. Confusion turned into reluctant acknowledgement. He studied me, noticing the grace, the confidence, the undeniable femininity that radiated from every pore. Later, Alone in Alina's apartment, I sank into a chair, trembling. The confrontation had shaken me more than I anticipated. Armin's recognition reminded me of the boy I had been, the vulnerability, the uncertainty, the old identity I had struggled to leave behind. Alina knelt beside me, brushing a strand of hair from my face. "It's okay," she whispered. "The past will always try to pull you back. But look at her. Look at what you have become. Beautiful, confident, unstoppable. The world sees her, and now, so do you." Tears welled in my eyes, a mixture of relief, fear, and longing. I realized that every challenge, every test, every recognition of my past only solidified the truth. The girl I had become was real, undeniable, and inescapable. I stood before the full-length mirror, tracing every line, every curve, every gesture of the girl staring back. The confrontation, the tension, the whispers of the past, all of it had shaped me, hardened me, and elevated me. "I am hers," I whispered. "I am beautiful. I am alive." Alina rested her hand lightly on my shoulder. "Do you see? She is real. She is yours. No one can undo this, not even the past." I nodded, shivering. The storm inside me calmed, replaced by a quiet, intoxicating certainty. The girl I had become was unstoppable. The past had tested her, the world had watched, and her confidence had survived. But tomorrow would bring the ultimate test. The final confrontation, the ultimate acceptance, the moment when she would know if her identity, her beauty, her surrender were truly irreversible. The moment had arrived. The world, the past, and my own heart would decide who I truly was and who I would remain forever. The day was electric, charged with anticipation that made my pulse race and my palms sweat. Alina had planned this moment carefully, the ultimate public showcase, a place where everyone, friends, strangers, and even those who knew my past, would witness the full truth of who I had become. As we approached the venue, my reflection in the car window caught my eye. The girl staring back was breathtaking. Hair perfectly styled, makeup flawless, dress flowing with every step. But beneath that beauty, beneath that elegance, a storm of fear, excitement, and adrenaline roared. "This is it," Alina said softly, her hand resting on my shoulder. "No hiding, no pretending. The world sees her today, and you will see her too." I took a deep breath, letting my heels click confidently on the pavement, letting the rhythm of my steps sync with the pounding of my heart. The girl I had become was ready to face the ultimate challenge. As soon as we entered the venue, all eyes turned to me. Conversations stopped mid-sentence, whispers spread like wildfire, and subtle gasps of admiration filled the air. Every glance, every whisper, every head turn confirmed it. I was her, fully alive, fully feminine, fully captivating. Friends, acquaintances, and strangers alike approached, eyes wide, voices trembling with awe. You're stunning. I've never seen anyone like you. Absolutely beautiful." Even those who had known me as a boy paused, shocked and mesmerized. Recognition mixed with disbelief, admiration, and subtle envy. Alina's eyes gleamed with satisfaction. "Do you see?" she whispered. "This is her. This is what you have become. Unstoppable. Irresistible. Desired." Suddenly, a familiar voice called out from across the room. My old rival, someone who had always doubted and mocked me in the past, stepped forward. His gaze locked on me, disbelief flashing in his eyes. Is that really you?" he sneered, a hint of derision in his tone. My chest tightened, a wave of fear and embarrassment washing over me. This was the moment I had been dreading, the ultimate confrontation. Could I maintain composure? Could I command the room as her? Alina's hand tightened on mine. Confidence. Presence. "She is yours. Show him." I took a deep breath, letting my posture straighten, my shoulders lift, my eyes shine with confidence. I smiled softly, letting the girl I had become radiate power and beauty. "Yes," I said, my voice soft but firm. "It's me, and I am her now." As I spoke, the whispers around the room grew louder, turning into murmurs of admiration. People stared, complimented, and subtly acknowledged the transformation. A woman whispered, "She's gorgeous." A man nodded appreciatively. "I've never seen anyone command a room like that." My old rival faltered, his sneer replaced with hesitant acknowledgement. I realized then that the girl I had become wasn't just visible, she was commanding attention, respect, and desire. The world could not deny her presence, her beauty, her femininity. Alina's hand rested lightly on my shoulder. "Do you feel it?" she whispered. "The world sees her, and now so do you." Later, alone in a quiet corner of the venue, I caught sight of my reflection in a tall mirror. Every detail, the curve of my waist, the softness of my skin, the elegance of my posture, was undeniable. I traced my fingers along my cheeks, lips, and hair, feeling a surge of pride, excitement, and longing. "I am hers," I whispered. "I am beautiful. I am alive. I am unstoppable." Tears streamed down my face, a mixture of joy, relief, and desire. The boy I had been was gone. The girl I had become was real, tangible, and irrevocable. Samir approached, his eyes wide with admiration and awe. You're incredible," he said softly. I felt a rush of warmth, a thrill, and a deep sense of connection. "I am her," I replied, a soft smile on my lips. "And this is who I am now." We stood together, hands brushing, hearts beating in sync. The world around us faded, leaving only the truth. I was hers, fully, irrevocably, undeniably. Alina appeared beside me, her presence calm and triumphant. "Do you see now?" she asked softly. "The world sees her. You see her. Forever." I nodded, shivering with a mixture of relief, pride, and exhilaration. The storm inside me had calmed. The girl I had become was unstoppable, radiant, desired, and fully accepted. The boy I had been was a memory. The girl I had become was alive, radiant, and irresistible. The world had witnessed her. The past had challenged her. And now she was unstoppable. Forever hers, forever beautiful, forever alive. The world had seen her. The past had tested her, and finally, she had claimed herself entirely. Months had passed since the ultimate public validation, the confrontation with the past, and the romantic acknowledgement from Samir. Life as her had become not only a reality, but a fully integrated experience. Every day, I awoke in Alina's apartment with a sense of purpose, elegance, and confidence that had once seemed impossible. The girl in the mirror was no longer a reflection of struggle, confusion, or shame. She was radiant, poised, and undeniably real. Every curve, every line, every subtle sway of movement spoke of a transformation that was no longer temporary or experimental. It was life itself. Yet, beneath the surface, a quiet awareness lingered. The boy I had been still existed as a faint echo, a memory, a shadow that reminded me of the journey, the struggles, and the triumphs that had led me here. My days were now filled with routines that emphasized my femininity, grace, and social integration. Alina guided me. Yes, but I had internalized her lessons to the point where I could move, speak, and exist as her effortlessly, walking with the subtle sway of confidence, conversing with a soft, melodic tone that commanded attention, wearing dresses, heels, and accessories as natural extensions of my identity. Every interaction reinforced my transformation. People who had known me in the past approached cautiously, but admiration and awe soon replaced doubt. Strangers admired me openly. Subtle glances followed me, and the confidence that had once been forced now radiated naturally. Evenings were reserved for reflection. I would stand before the full-length mirror, tracing my features, brushing my hair, and adjusting my posture. The girl staring back was not just beautiful, she was complete. I whispered softly, "I am hers. I am beautiful. I am alive. I am unstoppable." Tears often accompanied these reflections, but they were no longer tears of confusion or fear. They were tears of triumph, pride, and deep, profound acceptance. Each day, the echo of the boy I had been grew fainter, replaced entirely by the girl I had become. Alina's presence, calm and steady, reminded me that identity was not simply physical, it was psychological, emotional, and social. "You are hers," she said gently. "Not just today, not just now, but forever." Samir remained a consistent part of my new life. His admiration, subtle desire, and gentle affection reinforced the girl I had become. Our interactions were no longer tentative. They were natural, fluid, and filled with unspoken understanding. We attended social gatherings together, where I was fully recognized, appreciated, and desired by everyone present. Compliments flowed freely, and subtle touches from acquaintances or admirers only reinforced the truth. I was fully integrated into the world as her. The emotional and romantic tension that had once been fraught with embarrassment and uncertainty was now a source of confidence and satisfaction. I felt desired, admired, and fully alive. Standing before the mirror one quiet evening, I traced the contours of my face and body, reflecting on the journey. The initial shock of the DNA test, the embarrassment and humiliation of public exposure, the subtle manipulation, guidance, and control from Alina, the triumph over challenges, rivals, and recognition from the past. Each memory, each struggle, each moment of emotional intensity had shaped me into the girl I was today. The journey had been long, painful, and exhilarating, but the result was undeniable. Irreversible transformation, social integration, and complete identity acceptance. I whispered softly, "I am no longer him. I am her. I am beautiful. I am alive. Forever hers." Even in complete acceptance, a quiet tension remained. The past, the memory of my former self, and the lingering awareness of societal scrutiny served as faint whispers in the background. They reminded me that identity, desire, and perception were constantly evolving, that the world might challenge me again, and that the thrill of transformation was never truly over. Yet, I had learned to embrace it, to welcome every glance, every whisper, every subtle acknowledgement as a part of life as her. The girl I had become was unstoppable, radiant, desired, and fully real. Alina's hand rested lightly on my shoulder. "Do you feel it?" she asked softly. "The world sees her. You see her. And forever, she will remain yours." I nodded, a shiver of satisfaction, pride, and longing running through me. The girl in the mirror smiled back, fully alive, fully accepted, and fully hers. The boy I had been was gone. The girl I had become was alive, radiant, and unstoppable. The world had witnessed her. The past had tested her. And forever, she would remain hers, beautiful, desired, and unstoppable. The world had seen her, challenged her, and admired her, yet in the quiet moments, she finally embraced herself completely. Months, then years, had passed since the transformation began. Life as her had evolved from an experiment, a shocking revelation, to a full, living reality that encompassed every facet of existence. The girl I had become was no longer a new identity to test, it was life itself. Alina remained by my side, a guiding force, a constant reminder that control, power, and subtle dominance could coexist with care, guidance, and trust. Together, we had navigated the complexities of social life, romantic tension, and public exposure. Each morning began with rituals of self-care that were more than cosmetic, they were affirmations of identity. Carefully styled hair, makeup highlighting every feature, elegant clothing and heels that emphasized curves and poise, a voice modulation, gestures, and posture that radiated confidence. Standing before the mirror, I no longer saw hesitation, confusion, or doubt. The girl staring back was fully alive, radiant, confident, and utterly real. Every trace of the boy I had been was a shadow, a memory that now seemed distant and almost unreal. "I am hers," I whispered, tracing my cheek with delicate fingers. "I am beautiful. I am unstoppable. I am alive." Alina's hand rested lightly on my shoulder, a grounding presence. Do you see her now? She asked softly. She is yours. Forever. Unshakable. Desired. Public life had transformed entirely. Friends, acquaintances, strangers, and even those who had known me as a boy now interacted with the girl I had become, acknowledging her beauty, poise, and confidence. Compliments flowed freely. You're stunning. Subtle gestures of admiration and desire were constant. Even skeptics from the past could not deny her presence, radiance, and allure. Every interaction, every glance, every whisper reinforced that this identity was not temporary. It was fully embraced and fully accepted. Samir remained by my side, his admiration, affection, and subtle desire a constant source of confidence and happiness. Our relationship had matured into an effortless blend of companionship, flirtation, and unspoken passion. We attended social gatherings together, holding hands, exchanging glances filled with desire and mutual acknowledgement. Each interaction was a confirmation. The girl I had become was loved, desired, and admired, not just for appearance but for presence, personality, and essence. Alone in quiet moments, I would stand before the mirror, reflecting on the journey, the shock of the DNA test that began it all, the initial humiliation, fear, and resistance, the step-by-step feminization guided by Alina's control, the public exposure, recognition, and social challenges, the ultimate acceptance, admiration, and desire from friends, strangers, and Samir. Every struggle, every emotional storm had forged me into the girl I was now, complete, confident, beautiful, and alive. Even in complete acceptance, faint echoes of the past remained, not enough to destabilize me, but enough to remind me of the journey. Shadows of memory, brief flashes of doubt, and the thrill of being desired, admired, and watched created a subtle, thrilling tension. It reminded me that identity, beauty, and confidence were dynamic, living, evolving, and sometimes challenged by memory or circumstance. But now, armed with confidence, awareness, and experience, I could meet any challenge. I stood before the mirror one last time, taking a deep, steadying breath. The girl staring back was flawless, confident, radiant, and fully real. She was unstoppable. She was desired. She was alive. Alina's hand rested gently on my shoulder. Do you see her? She whispered. The world sees her. You see her. And forever, she will remain yours. I nodded, shivering with pride, desire, and deep satisfaction. The transformation was no longer temporary. The boy I had been was gone. The girl I had become was alive, radiant, desired, unstoppable, and forever hers. The girl I had become would live fully, loved and admired, navigating the world with confidence and grace. The past remained a whisper, the future shimmered with possibility, and forever she would remain hers, beautiful, unstoppable, and alive. The journey was over. The tests, the challenges, the transformations all had led to this moment. She was alive, radiant, and unstoppable. The city lights reflected off the windows as I walked with Alina through the quiet streets. Every step was confident, elegant, deliberate. The girl I had become was fully integrated into the world. Not a mask, not an experiment, but life itself. The boy I had been existed only in memory, a distant shadow that reminded me of how far I had come. Every glance in a mirror, every compliment, every subtle act of admiration reinforced that I was hers, completely and irrevocably. Samir's hand brushed mine lightly, his smile warm and knowing. You're incredible, he whispered. I smiled, feeling the weight of every challenge, every humiliation, every step of the transformation melt into pride and satisfaction. Alina's hand rested gently on my shoulder, her gaze steady and triumphant. Do you see her? She asked softly. The world sees her. You see her. Forever. I nodded, shivering with joy, excitement, and deep emotional fulfillment. The girl in the mirror smiled back, confident, radiant, unstoppable, and fully alive. The past had tested her. The world had admired her. The journey had ended, yet life as her had only begun. And forever, she would remain hers, beautiful, desired, and unstoppable. The story of transformation, of acceptance, of beauty and power reached its ultimate conclusion. The girl she had become was real, alive, and unstoppable. The past had faded. The future shimmered with endless possibility. And forever, she would remain hers.